All right, everybody, come on in and soak it up. Yeah, enjoy this one. You don't know how long these things are going to last when they happen, but right now it has happened, and we just need to sit here and appreciate it. The Seahawks are at the top of the division. The Seahawks have the best record in the NFC West. They are ahead of the 49ers, even though they have almost 50 points on us in point differential, even though they have all these rankings where they're probably a lot higher than us, even though this, even though that, even though the other thing, the Seahawks are for the moment in the lead for the NFC West, and that feels good. Yeah, it could change in a week, it could change in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but don't forget to enjoy these moments on the course of a season. I think that there are definitely some people out there that get so wrapped up in the end result. These people who think along the lines of, I want my team to win a Super Bowl, it's Super Bowl or bust. We have to win the Super Bowl, or we have to get to this, we have to get to that. And you forget to enjoy the little milestones along the way. You forget to enjoy this game or that game or this result. You don't get full appreciation out of JSN scoring the game-winning touchdown in his rookie season on the Cleveland Browns on the number one defense. You don't get the appreciation of Geno Smith leading you down the field in overtime against the Detroit Lions to win the game on the road right after they defeated the defending Super Bowl champions. So when something like this comes up, don't feel bad about taking solace in it. Don't feel bad about basking in it for a little bit. Again, it can change quickly. In a couple weeks, we could be sitting here having a conversation about how the season's gone completely off the rails. But right now, it is your duty as a fan to enjoy the little happy moments that come along the way, even if it is all ultimately for the purpose of eventually trying to win a championship. Don't lose this. Don't lose track of this stuff. I'm serious. It's going to make watching sports a much more pleasant experience for you if you can get a kick out of the fact that we are currently leading the division after 8 weeks, just like you can get a kick out of winning a championship. So, obviously, the Seahawks won yesterday, and the reason why we're sitting here right now having this conversation is because everyone else in the division lost. So, Seahawks 1-0, every other team in the division 0-1 for this week. Now, the Cardinals we don't really care about, but let's talk about these other two teams real quick. So, just to briefly go over what went down yesterday, although we'll talk a little bit more about this in tomorrow's rooting guide postmortem. The 49ers, obviously, they lost to the Bengals, which I think most people expected this one. The Bengals were coming off a bye week. The Niners have injuries. The Niners have issues. It was just bad timing for the Niners and good timing for the Bengals. So this isn't a wildly unexpected result. In fact, none of the results within the division were surprising yesterday. But there is this. This is very interesting to me. Um, you guys know that I'm a big Kyle Shanahan fan. I think he's a genius. I think he's one of the best coaches in the game. I think that for the most part, he doesn't get as much credit as he should for the work that he's done with some really, really lousy quarterbacks. But it seems to me his weakness, his fatal flaw as a coach, is thinking that all of his players are made out of adamantium and will never get injured. And he's going to ignore all empirical evidence to the contrary when he's trying to utilize that belief in his head. You got Christian McCaffrey, who has been radically overused over the past several weeks. Not so much yesterday, but CMC gets too many touches for a guy who's already hurt. So it seems like he's just in his mind thinking, oh, CMC's not going to get hurt. Why would I think he's going to get hurt? Yeah, he gets hurt all the time, but he's not going to get hurt for me. Why would he get hurt for me? So he's just pounding him into the line over and over again. You've got the Debo stuff. The way he uses Debo, it's like he just thinks, oh, he's never going to get hurt. We all know about the Trey Lance stuff, where he would just run him on a QB draw right up the middle. And, of course, there's What do you think is going to happen when you're just plowing your quarterback up the middle of a defense and put him in a situation where he's getting tackled by guys who weigh like 100 more pounds than him? So yeah, that you got some other stuff as well in this vein, but it sure just seems like he has no respect for the possibility of a player getting hurt. And we saw it rear its ugly head again yesterday with Brock Purdy. So Brock Purdy got concussed against the Vikings Monday Night Football and then was cleared to play Sunday afternoon against the Bengals. Now, that's probably a bad idea, period. But then you had this moment here where Brock Purdy gets taken to the ground by a defender. His helmet, the back of his head, slams against the turf. He clearly reacts in pain. I'm not going to show the clip, but he grabs his head and he doesn't get taken out of the game. So, what the heck, Shanahan? This just really confuses me how little regard Shanahan seems to have for the health of his players. It's like honestly, even if the doctors aren't on top of this for some reason, it seems to me that a NFL concussion doctor is not doing his job if he's not jumping in and saying you need to take Purdy out of the game right now because clearly he's not right. But even if he's not there, why is Shanahan not saying, you know what, I need to protect my quarterback. I need to take him out of the game right now and get this figured out, see if he's actually concussed? I mean, if you watch this play, it's pretty clear that him trying to come back from a concussion so fast and taking this hit had an effect on him. So it just continues to boggle the mind that he would allow this to happen because now the Niners do get a bye week, but concussions, you don't want to stack concussions. You don't want to have a concussion followed by another concussion less than a week later. Literally 6 days later, he eats another potential concussion or exacerbates the first one by hitting his head like this again. So that's just going to make things far worse and make it take far longer to get better. Generally speaking, when a player makes his first game back, plays in his first game post concussion, it doesn't really go that well. If a player tries to play through a concussion, it tends to go really badly. Like I think we all remember Russell Wilson in the NFC title game against the Packers. Clay Matthews concusses him, he stays in the game, and he's throwing interceptions every other pass. He's just completely awful. And we had no offensive success until the end of the game, basically. So why you would even want Purdy out there when he's so closely removed from a concussion, I don't know. But this is something that could really affect the entire Niners season. This could affect Purdy in the Jacksonville game. It could affect him when he plays us, when he plays, whoever it is they play later down the season. They obviously play the Rams and Cardinals again. I think they still have to play the Ravens. So this is something to keep an eye on because a lot of the Niners' problems are going to get better, at least temporarily. They're going to get Trent Williams back probably after the bye. They're probably going to get Debo back as well. That's going to really help that offense and help Purdy play cleaner. And obviously, I don't know how long you can expect those guys to stay healthy, but it's going to temporarily ease the problem. But this strikes me as being really irresponsible. Like Niners fans were mad about what happened to the NFC Championship game last year. This is worse. Like genuinely, this is probably worse because in the NFC title game against the Eagles, he let like a third string tight end try to block Hassan Reddick one-on-one and Reddick gets in and hurts Purdy. This is probably even worse than that. Like with concussions being what they are in the modern NFL, somebody's going to have to explain this one to me. And I spent way longer on discussing that than I planned on, but it really is weird because you have a capable backup quarterback in Sam Darnold. It's not like you're the Vikings and your backup quarterback is Jaren Hall, or you're not the Giants and your backup quarterback is Tommy DeVito. It's real NFL quarterback, Sam Darnold. So, yeah, this is something like it's worth monitoring. Could this end up being something that really upsets the Niners season? And I mean, they're already kind of in panic mode at 5-3. I'm sure they're going to be hitting this trade deadline hard, but this strikes me as just bizarrely irresponsible. And then you've got the Rams, who did get blown out yesterday by the Cowboys. It wasn't even really a game. It was over very quickly, it felt like. Cowboys scored on defense. They scored on special teams. And to add insult to injury, later in the game, Matt Stafford injured his thumb. And Sean McVay has been pretty down on the likelihood of Stafford being okay after that injury. So Rams are now 3-5. Assuming Stafford misses some time, they're probably going to sink even further than that. And you know that Rams team has already been selling off assets. Like they traded Van Jefferson, they traded their running back Cam Akers. Now, not guys they valued a lot, but they are guys who are assets, and they already sold them off when they were winning. So you got to believe they're probably on the cusp of trying to figure out how to blow this up. Like, can they trade some offensive linemen? Can they trade some of their veterans on defense? Can they find? I know it seems unthinkable they would do this, but could they trade Aaron Donald? I don't think they will, but if they found somebody who was willing to give up a first round pick, then maybe would they maybe a trade that no one would see coming. Maybe they trade like Cooper Kupp because they like Puka Nacua so much. I don't know, but this is a team that has shown they get it. Like they didn't keep they didn't keep Cam Akers and Van Jefferson just because they won a few games. They were like, no, this team we still need future assets more than current assets. We're going to trade players for future picks, even if it's just a little bit, and then they went out and did it. So I wonder if they're going to be active sellers over the next couple of days or day now, basically. And I wonder what kind of Rams team we will see when we play them again in a couple weeks here. So, in the short term, however, they go to Brett Ripien, who is a quarterback who had some experience last year. He got to play behind Russ in Denver, and he actually started a couple games, and he's, a typical, not very good, but not completely terrible backup quarterback, I guess. Like, it could be worse. So, I, um, I it's hard for me to believe that Brett Ripien can go in there and do the things that Stafford was doing. Not that Stafford was playing great, but he was playing okay. He was playing okay, and he was the guy who killed us in week one. So this has to change the perception of our upcoming game against the Rams in LA if Stafford can't play. On top of everything else happening to that team right now, where they're clearly not playing as well as they did the first few weeks. They blew us out, and then they went toe to toe with the Niners. They have fallen off significantly since that pretty impressive 1-2. So, looking at the Rams, I honestly wonder, is this the end for Stafford? I very much questioned his decision to come back last year after the back injury he had. Or was it spine or neck? It was a serious injury in that upper back area, and he decided to come back. I didn't get it, but he did. And now you got this. I wonder, is this going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back? And he just decides, you know what? My body can't do this anymore. I want to walk when I'm 50 years old. I want to be able to pick up my kids and stuff. I want to be able to actually have a life outside of football. I don't know. But yeah, things have definitely taken a turn for the worst within the division with both these teams. They both look a lot less. They both look like far inferior teams to how they looked earlier this season. Excuse me. So the Cardinals, I mean, honestly, we want the Cardinals to win a game or two so they don't get the top pick. At this point, I'm not even really going to talk about that. They're still doing what they've been doing the whole year. They're competitive. They hang close. They play tough. They play okay. And then they lose anyway. Pretty much every game they play is just like that. And it's honestly commendable because they are already getting rid of some of their veteran players, and they don't really have a good roster to begin with. So I think what they're doing is actually pretty compliment worthy. So I don't really have anything to say there, but the NFC West is starting to look a little less competitive than it did a little bit ago. So I guess that's good news. I guess we can be happy about that. Should be a little easier to farm wins out of the rest of this schedule, knowing that the division is starting to fade. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Snap Count Monday coming up a little bit later. Let me know what you guys think about the division.